Today, I want to look at the journey of man across generations and genealogies. Now, the psalmist asks the question, what is man that you are mindful of? And the Son of Man that thou visits him. So, I want to look at what is really man, like how is man linked across generations and genealogies in today's episode of frequently asked questions. All through the scriptures, we'll see that it is well littered with genealogy and family tree. In fact, if you read the Old Testament, the book of Numbers, the book of First Chronicles, in fact, Leviticus also, you see a lot of genealogy, and you're like, oh God, what do I need to do with this? How is this relevant to me? It's very relevant. I know most of us don't read it when we see it, we just gloss over it. But then it is very, very relevant. Because nothing that the Bible writes, the Bible is very concise. So there are no extraneous details, there are no extraneous materials in the scriptures. So for the Bible to well litter the scriptures with genealogy, and Adam begat this, and Adam begat Cain, and Cain begat this, Adam also begat Seth, and all those genealogies that the Bible puts, it is very important. Because even when it came to Jesus, you're like, oh, that's Old Testament. When it came to Jesus, New Testament, Scripture had to trace the lineage of Jesus to Abraham in Matthew, and then Luke goes further, traces it to Adam. Very intentional. So you say, oh, maybe it was Matthew that did as Jew, but Luke also did the same thing, even went deeper into the lineage and traced it to Adam, traced it to Seth, traced it to Adam. So why is this so important? Because man is an offspring. Man doesn't work or exist in isolation. Even when Jesus came as a man, he had to come through a root. The Bible calls him the root and offspring of David. So he was an offspring of David. And of course, David was an offspring of Abraham. And of course, Abraham was an offspring of Adam. It's because God himself is the one that sets solitary in families. God measures our inheritance according to tribes. He has set the boundaries. He has set the landmarks. So there are hidden treasures, there are hidden inheritances in families, in tribes, in nations, in countries. God did all those by wisdom. God allowed there to be different tribes of Israel. And you may be wondering why. Why can't they all be the same and alike? And each of them have different strengths. For example, Bible says that Issachar was one that had understanding of times and seasons. If you look at Judah, Judah had his own strength. The Bible even says that the scepter shall not depart from Judah. If you look at Joseph, you may wonder, how did Jesus Christ not come through Joseph? Because Joseph had his own parts to play. He had his own strength. Of course, Joseph himself replaced Reuben because Reuben was caused by the father. So if you look at First Chronicles, the Bible says that Reuben lost his birthright, and that birthright was given to Joseph. And that's why Ephraim and Manasseh are two different nations. So when we look at the nations, the 12 tribes of Israel, we don't look at Reuben, we look at what? Ephraim and Manasseh, according to scriptures. So God by wisdom hid all those things in tribe, not to create tribalism, not to create any faction or division. He did that so that each can have different tributaries and can communicate the multifaceted dimensions of God's glory and of God's grace. When God started a new lineage, a new family from Abraham, he branched out into multiple streams. And so, in fact, we Christians, we can trace our lineage to Abraham by faith. Because just as God started a new physical nation through Abraham, God also started something spiritual through Abraham. And so those that are of faith are of the children of Abraham. So we can see that Abraham, wherever he is or wherever he was, his life affected us and still affects us now. We cannot say that we are Christians without referencing Abraham, because Abraham was on a pioneered faith. And of course, faith was before the law. Law came by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. Abraham was before Moses, of course, and the law was after Abraham. So Abraham pioneered a dimension to which we all find our bearing. And this was a man. And so there are some things that, are in our genealogy that some men have pioneered, and they affect us. They affect us. You say, oh, this person is facing this because his grandfather did this, his grandfather did that. And then that thing continues to run in the lineage. Because the truth is that when we talk about matters of lineage, matters of family, matters of inheritance, patterns are usually carried on along through different generations and dispensations, both the positive and the negative ones. For example, Abraham went down into Egypt, and this affected his generations. Because after his encounter, and he returned back, to the place that God had appeared unto him in Genesis chapter 14. God himself appeared to him and said that, see, your generations, the people that will come, your offspring, they are going to be slaves in the land of Egypt. And if you look at that journey of Abraham that went to Egypt, it also affected Isaac. Isaac was about to also do like his father and go down to where? To Egypt. But God had to stop him, had to intercept him. So Abraham created a stream that naturally was going to play out in the destinies of his children, except God himself intervened and interfered. And so that's what we are doing. That's what our fathers have done. They have a way of what? Transferring to us. They have a way of imparting us. That's why you see that physically or biologically, there are traits that are passed down from a father to the children. The way a father smiles, for example, some of his children may smile the same way, or the way he talks, the way he gestures, the way he walks. It's just passed down, except deliberate efforts are used to change that pattern, to change that cycle. The child of a father or mother cannot have a genotype that is different or outside the radius of that which his parents provides. His parents determine him. And so also a lot of other things the child doesn't have control over. He came from a place and is affected. He's affected by that place. So if you want to understand your constitution, you want to understand, as kingdom men and people with kingdom mindset, there are some things you have to trace out. Because the truth is that the future is well hidden in the past and history repeats itself. So if you want to be able to predict what will happen to you in future times, or you want to be able to change evil circumstances from happening, because what happened in previous times will happen. The Bible says that which has been will be. There is no new thing under the sun. So you must be a student of history, research into your father, research into your lineage, into your genealogy, and find out, okay, what were the prevalent trends? What were the prevalent things? Where did my father stop? Why did he die at this age? Maybe he died at a young age, and you see that it has been repeating itself all through genealogies. Then you must do something to stop it. Because if you look at Abraham, the issue of barrenness was from Terah to Abraham, from Abraham to Isaac, from Isaac to Jacob. That thing kept on happening. So there is no two way about it. It doesn't just stop by itself. Something must be done in order to avert it. So it is not hopeless. It is not without remedy. But then what we are doing today is to call us back to investigate. Just say it doesn't matter. It matters. Because in the eventual analysis, it's either we create a new stream of possibilities and of profitable ventures, or we recycle old systems that have been ahead of us. And so also when we are building, for those that are not married, when you're about to marry, the kind of person you marry also is important. The way you raise your family also is important, because if you do things deliberately and ensure that negative things don't happen again, you're able to stop them, then you'll be able to raise a generation that is liberated from the yoke of the devil, from the bondage of corruption. Because in the long run, these things have multiple effects across generations and across genealogies. It affects what comes into the earth. It affects civilizations. It affects culture. It affects the way things eventually play out upon the earth. So if each of us can take it, we'll be able to change the reality of the things that happen upon the face of the earth. Trust you are blessed by today's exposition. So it's more of an exposition. Please share the word out to as many, so that men can take it and begin to build with intentionality, with wisdom, and with understanding. I pray that God himself will give us the insights we need, even as we inquire, as we find out truth, in the name of Jesus, and the revelation that we need to create a new stream for God. God himself would empower us with it, in the name of Jesus. See you next week. God bless you.